Well, hello, I'm Francis. I'm not going to look up. I'm going to try not to look up because God knows everything's reading your eyeballs these days or trying to send you messages to depress you to the fullest. And usually I'm trying to stand up for kind of sovereignty and our rights and try and expose the fraud and the cruelty and everything else. But today it's for the vaccinated. I thought, in a sense, there could be no worse thing done to them. But I heard of a case, High Court case in America, where it was decided that vaccinated people, because of accepting an mRNA um, gene therapy, can't remember what they're calling it now, well, apart from a vaccine, are not human and therefore should not be afforded human rights. So one of the first things we've got to do is overturn that decision because that's a bit of an open door to more forced vaccinations and all the very same things as happen in concentrated farming, where they just fire any sort of thing at them to keep them vaguely alive, or actually just to sell really, but creating a market, creating illness, and no longer the status of a human being. If that isn't adding insult to injury, I don't know what is. You might wonder about my hat. Yes, it has the silver lining. In the past, that would have been a sort of a tinfoil hat arrangement, but just in an effort to fend off the extreme electromagnetic frequencies that we're being bombarded with. They've started the 5G all over the place. In fact, brilliantly, over in England, in Gloucester, 9 county councillors resigned after it was pointed out that they were personally liable for the fact that those 5G masts were put up by some company that had been dissolved in 2015. So there's nobody liable, no efficacy or safety, no nothing done, and nobody responsible. Except they were definitely going to be found responsible. So, yeah, we're up against a lot, and it's going to become more routine to bring in things without any need for consent. If the majority of the population, are vaccinated and no longer register as human, and the rest of the population who aren't vaccinated are considered, I can't remember what they are considered, except for potentially a danger to their grandparents or whatever. I can't remember what they were lashing out ludicrously. But it's obviously an offence if you think about it, because all the people that you would have trusted and known about, and maybe even learnt medicine from back in the day, have all had to resign and basically go and and I heard recently that actually this has been a brilliant thing that the Big Pharma and the World Health Organization hadn't anticipated, by getting everybody kicked out of their institutions, which would have slightly tied them down by their job. Now they're all absolutely determined that this treaty will not go ahead. It's an abomination. It's an abomination. There is nothing in it apart from trying to create a market, and worse, trying to reduce the population, and also, just while we're talking about consent and human rights, just think about the fact that really, I think something like, well, I don't even want to try and say any facts or figures because everybody just writes them off. But the fact is, everybody who's anybody who's got two brain cells rubbed together has said no, we don't consent. And the World Health Organization are ignoring all those notices and just hoping it's just going to go through. and we've got to say no. We've got to say to our governments no. We've got to find the WHO offices in our respective nations where we're living and say no. We don't consent, and it must not go ahead. I swear to God, life will not be worth living if the World Health Organization, UN, World Economic Forum come into power and play out their declarations of fake pandemics. They play out their bioweapons program absolutely unchecked. And we're saying this is going to come into international law in 8 weeks' time. That's what the amendments to the international health regulations mean. That instead of recommendations, they're going to be laws. It's so serious. It's so serious. And the only thing they do when you ask them really how detrimental is this going to be, say, for example, the 15-minute cities, they change it from the 15-minute city. They just change the name to something else. And all Tedros has had to say was that everything, that countries won't lose their sovereignty. Countries, people, decision makers, every single man, woman and child will lose everything. Everything. And don't even get me started on animals. We will lose everything that makes life worth living if that treaty somehow, in any way, is acknowledged as in any way valid, which it absolutely has been voided at the World Health Assembly at the end of May. We have got to tell the people who are representing us to say no, and right ourselves, because each man and woman can say something and register, post it, whatever you need to do. And if you do anything, please feel free, send it to me. What would you put it to? francismicklem@gmail.com. And then I can just compile those things, because I want to know what everybody's doing, so they can't go, oh, a bit like the post office scandal, where they go, oh, no one else is having any problems with the system. It's just some people who aren't very honest and aren't very good at their job that are having a problem with that Horizon system. The reality is everybody knows deep down, and the only people that are seeing this through and perpetuating this massive changes, which is absolutely, completely treasonous, complete genocide, complete agreement to torture, actually is what it is. The only ones that have agreed to that are the ones that are profiting. So please, everybody, do something, and let me know what you've done, if you can, as well, so that I can have a copy of it and I can be like, no, I think you'll find that here they are, 200 notices from man, woman, child, government, lawyer, doctors, everybody. Let's just pool that information and unite to stop this absolute disaster from unfolding. Thank you.